Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Starseed Immersion podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to Dr. Akasha Jen Smith. She is the founder of the School of Awakened Living and the creator of the Professional Intuitive Healer Certification Program. With over 20 years of experience, she has facilitated more than 10,000 intuitive readings and healing sessions, guiding people worldwide into higher states of clarity, freedom, and joy. Known as a gifted multidimensional channel and heart-centered teacher, Akasha transmits divine guidance and powerful healing frequencies that create life-changing transformation. It is such an honor to have you here with us, Akasha. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Nikki. I really appreciate the invitation.
Oh, well, I would love to start with a little bit to get to know you more personally. So, how would you be open to sharing your origin story, like where you started and how you got into this field doing what you do today?
I would love to. Yes, it's a long one, so I'll try to make it short enough. I started to become aware that there was much more out there than the everyday life existence, probably in my teens, which was a long time ago, 30 years ago. And I dove into dreams. I was very interested in dreams, and I was having lucid dreams. And then I started having really amazing peak experiences. I would just do a meditation, a white light meditation, and my entire room would turn into white light and everything would dissolve. I was really into some of the channeled materials by Sanaya Roman that were out back then, the books. And that was my intro into channeling. Then, through a series of events and lots of learning along the way, I was actually spending some time with my partner, and he invited me to move in with him. And so it was time for me to leave what I had been doing, which was working as a crisis counselor in psychology. I have a background in psychology, and move in with him. And so I said the prayer, what do I do next? And I heard back to call a woman I had met when I was working part-time at a metaphysical store and repping the classes there. And so there were classes like how to read tarot and dream interpretation, all of these fun classes. And I got the guidance to call her. And so I called her and she said, I opened a store and I want you to come and do readings in it. And I said, I can't do readings, I'm not trained in this. And even though I had inadvertently gotten trained through working at the metaphysical store, which I was guided to do,
Right.
in those classes. And so she brought me in. And then I booked my first event with my partner, who was a poet and an artist at the time. And he did poetry readings in the front, and I did intuitive readings in the back. And it was so well attended that I had to go an hour early and stay an hour late because it was fully booked. So I took it as a big yes from the universe that that was what I was supposed to be doing, even though my ego was like, I can't do this. I can't call myself this. I was having all of the stuff that was coming up. But I said yes. And here I am, 20 years later, still doing it.
Oh, wow. Now, I've noticed like sometimes like we as starseeds, we start out in the healing field, but we're not aware that there's more. Like, was that the same case for you, or were you always born very intuitive and like connected to your spiritual gifts?
I love that question because I think there are so many people out there that they know, and there is a call, right? There's a call to be doing more and to be giving more on those deeper levels, but they're not exactly sure, and maybe they're in environments where it's not necessarily encouraged. For me, I always knew. I knew deep down there was something more, and I was pretty intuitive from a very young age, but I thought everyone else was operating in the world like that too. I didn't realize that some people weren't, until I was probably in my mid-20s.
Mhm.
I started to realize through a gifted mentor who was helping me see that sometimes people can feel like I'm peeking in their journal if I can see things about them that they didn't necessarily want me to see. And I just thought this was how people do the world. So I got much better at boundaries and being aware and not doing that.
That's so interesting because I came from a background where I was like very much in the 3D world and I didn't know anything about the spiritual field. And it was really during COVID that shifted. But then, right around 2024 was when I went from just like healing modality to, oh, like I'm a star seed. So would you like dive into like your understanding of a star seed and why is it that we feel that pull that we're here for something more, something bigger?
Hmm. You ask good questions. I like this. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. As starseeds, we came here to do some very specific things. We came here to help further a beautiful mission on Earth of just helping all of us live in a more soul-aligned, love-filled way in harmony with each other. And so that calling is inside of us and it gets awoken at different times. And there are degrees which we can step into our callings and what we feel meant to be doing. And I 100% believe that starseeds are all here doing some element or some aspect of healing. That's what they're doing here. And that might look really different from individual to individual. But because we have these parts of us, it's like we're not satisfied or we don't feel right unless we're doing what we feel we're meant to be doing. And sometimes there's a process where we're trying to figure it out and get clear on it, and it can feel like it lasts a long time. And that really was the first several years of my career when I was in psychology. I knew I was meant to help and be of service, but something was missing without more of the spiritual piece. And because we're all intuitive and aware, we know when it's off. We can feel when it's off, even if we can't directly speak to it or name it. And we know on a deeper soul level how amazing and bright life can be and love-filled and harmonious. And so when we're not living that, something in us is telling us it's time to make whatever shifts we can make so that we can be living it.
I love that. I think it's like an intuitive guidance. And I used to think that um, that I was just like, that there was something wrong, right? Like that there's something wrong with me. Why can't I do the things that normal people do? Why can't I just be happy with, right? Like I had a relationship, I have beautiful kids, but it was always about my career, like something about it. I was like, no, this is not it. This is not it. And I kept trying to find the thing outside of me. Um, Now, on the other side, I realized it was because we're here for something very specific that our soul calls us to do. And it's like we cannot live an inauthentic life. Like I've noticed that about starseeds. It's like we are here to embody authenticity, to really live in alignment with our soul. So any facet that's like not in alignment with our soul, we just can't stand it. Like I can't stand it. I don't know about you.
Yes, yes, I relate. I really relate. And I love that you brought it into the body and authenticity because these are important pieces that um, sometimes take time for people to come into on their spiritual path. And they're really important. There's a reason we're here on earth, right? There's a reason we're here living in these bodies. So I love that you brought that up.
Mhm. And you mentioned that we're all healers in different aspects. Could you share a little bit from your like extensive experience working with so many intuitives and healers? How does that show up in our lives?
Could you say more about which part shows up?
Yeah, like the expression of healing. Because I think, sometimes we get so caught up in thinking it has to be this one thing. Like, are there different ways that we heal and we live our purpose?
Yes. The first one that comes to mind is the creative piece, because I think that's one that can get overlooked. So I really want to make sure I speak to that. And we can heal others through our creative gifts. Like, how many times have you heard music that just is like medicine for your soul, or seen a piece of art that just goes directly to your heart in a way that nothing else could? So I think through the creative expression is a big way that we can heal. I also feel that helping others connect with the unseen realms, if it's in nature, a lot of the beautiful elementals and nature spirits. And some people feel very called to do that work, to really be focused on the nature aspect of things. I'm hearing Pleiadians. I work with Pleiadians, and yes, I love the Pleiadians, and they have a very strong connection to nature and the earth. And then there's also, just straightforward energy healing where we help one person get from point A to point B. And a lot of the people I work with, they come in thinking they may be coming for this reason. Maybe they want to deal with anxiety, or maybe they want clarity on, what their next steps are in their career. And a lot of times their soul is what's bringing them in. They're ready for the next level of that upgrade in their evolution so they can be living their purpose more. So there's so many ways that it can look. And I also wanted to jump back, and because I realized I didn't fully answer another question you asked about my awareness with my starseed origins. And, it's interesting because I started working with these amazing guides in a very clear way. Like they were showing up as flashes of light for me when I was in my early 20s. And, I was seeing fairies with my eyes and lights and, these wonderful experiences that I feel so fortunate to have had. But it wasn't until probably about 5 years ago, and I was doing some training with Jamie Price. She's a brilliant light language teacher and wrote a book on it. And through her activations, I think is a big part of how my remembrance really came online. And I started, the Pleiadians were teaching me techniques, the multidimensional light transmissions that I do to give to people. I mean, that's really special for me to have that connection with them that I can then share with others that can help them. So it became very clear and obvious that I had been connecting with these amazing star beings since, pretty much the beginning of time. I have memories of being a star mother, back in the day, like helping bring the galactic ones, the Pleiadian ones to the human race. So it's been since the beginning of time, but my awareness of it in a very clear, undeniable way happened about 5 years ago in that training and through the activations with Jamie Price.
Mhm. Oh my God, I love that. So, um, do you feel like it's very important because we are starseeds that we do remember which councils we work with or which starseeds we work with are from, like our origins?
People ask me a lot because I do Akashic Records readings, and they come and often ask, what are my origins? They ask that a lot. And on one hand, I think it can be helpful. It's like, some of the like astrology, for example, where we can understand ourselves a little bit more if we see ourselves through that lens. But so many of the people who come to me and that I work with, they've been everything. They've been all Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans. They have been all of it, and they're from all over. It just depends on which life, which dimension we're looking at. And so many of them, they're all happening. It's all happening at the same time. So there's no past, present, or future. We're all of those things at the same time. So on one hand, I think it can be helpful. On another hand, if we're all everything, you know, does it matter? So I feel both ways about it.
I, it's interesting you say that because I realize, like, I remember one of my friends, she's very intuitive, and she said, Nikki, it's because your ego needed to experience that. And I was like, really? And it was that, like, connecting to my Starseed family. And then afterwards, I was pulled right back into my body. And I was like, why am I not so focused up here anymore? And it's because we do have to bring what we understand at a higher consciousness back down to earth because we're here to live in the body. But it did serve me, like you mentioned, it did serve me because it gave me my power back. Like I realized that I was something so much more than just my human essence. And I didn't have a very good relationship with my human essence. I didn't think very highly of myself. And that came from childhood conditioning of like not being good enough or always told like what I wanted was wrong. So connecting to my starseed essence, I realized like these are characteristics that I've always had. I remember connecting to my Lyran, I like my Lyran lifetime, and she was bubbly and she was like charismatic and she was very open. She was like, come and explore this world with me. And I lost that essence. Like when I became an entrepreneur, I lost that essence. I was very serious. I was very much like, who do I need to be on the outside to be accepted as a professional, to be accepted as someone with authority and credibility. And so I tried to like squeeze myself into a box that of what society considered successful, right? Or considered somebody with authority. Um, but then connecting with that lifetime, I was like, no, like my soul essence, like who I really am, is that charismatic, bubbly persona. Like that's what makes me unique and special. So absolutely, I totally resonate with what you say. It just helps us remember who we are.
And I like hearing your story. Thank you for sharing that. And the part that really resonated with me, in my own journey is when I discovered that I was, of these other origins, and it helped me have a lot more compassion for myself about why it can feel like I don't fit into a lot of environments or situations and why I feel different from a lot of other people and have for most of my life. And I remember reading something somewhere about how starseeds need to stop trying to fit themselves into a square, like a square hole because they're round pegs, something along those lines. It's always going to feel like that if they keep trying, to make it look like everyone else or be like everyone else. So I like that you spoke to that too.
Well, thank you. I would love to hear from your own experience as well, because um, I always hear, and perhaps this is because like I'm an Aries in my career, in astrology, but like we are the new earth. Like we are the bridge between the old and the new, right? This more loving, beautiful world that we're moving towards, more harmonious, more compassionate, and that we are actually meant to um, create modalities, create businesses, create new systems and ways of like being in relationship with people, generating money, living or teaching our children. There's like new modalities coming in or ancient modalities, but they're new in our society. Um, so when you said like we shouldn't try to fit ourselves into a box because the old way of being is not meant for us. Like we're not meant to try to fit what was already created. We're actually here to create something entirely new. Sorry, that wasn't even a question.
That's okay. That's okay. 100% yes. Yeah, I'm right there with you. We're meant to basically be pioneers, do it our own way, carve the path that feels what's in alignment with our souls, and let that come from inside, from our own inner guidance, and then let it unfold.
Can you speak on like, I guess, the importance of having like a guided structure, even though we're channeling, right? It's more feminine, it's more etheric, it's more intangible. Why it's still important to have a structure like your institution, to guide you through these frameworks so that they can create a business that they love or create, a life that they love.
I would love to. So the way that I got into doing this work, it was sort of what feels like the backwards way in. I was listening to guidance and then following along the breadcrumbs. And really, I needed a lot more training. I needed a lot more training. I could show up and do it well enough, but what I learned over the years and along the way was, I needed to learn how to really sit with people in difficult times and difficult moments and be present. And I needed to learn how to create a really strong space to do the healing and hold that space and to make myself a very clear channel. And there are degrees that we can do this, right? Like we can do it for fun at a workshop, we have a good time and then we go back to our lives, our everyday lives that can feel very 3D. Or we can make it a way of life where we're living from the inside out and creating new earth, creating the lives we want to be living. And the program that I created, the Professional Intuitive Healer Certification Program, I would have loved to have found something like this early on and felt like was so needed. And there's a lot of like weekend Reiki trainings and these different things you can do, but to me, to have the foundation and to have the support of there's 5 other teachers in the program who have also been doing the work equally as long and teaching equally as long as I have, which is such a wonderful gift to be able to learn with them. And then there's all the other like-minded, beautiful healer starseed souls who are in there with you doing it. And community is so important on this path. And so is accountability. If you really want to go, deeper and keep growing and evolving, and through a program that calls you to show up live every week for 9 months, the transformation is just inevitable to be living your life on that level. And I'm very happy and proud to say that we have 100% graduation rate. And people literally say that their lives are changed. And it's not just in their work world, it's in their relationships and how they know themselves and trust themselves and can really live as they truly are. So it's a well-rounded foundation that if you're ready to go from A to B in a beautiful, solid, supported way, without a doubt, to get you there, this is the way to do it.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that because I feel like I'm a feeler, so I even feel like the stability and the groundedness of your container, right? Like it is not just a single session here and there. It is a true transformation of your identity and grounding those energies within you so that it becomes a part of you. It becomes who you are. As you show up in everyday life. It becomes who you are through your professional path. And my belief is like to be truly embodied in your soul, everything clicks, everything aligns. It's not just one area of your life is beautiful and working, and another area of your life is, like if you're still going back to the career that you don't like, you know that your soul is here for something better. And you're not doing that, right? And it's just your soul being expressed in alignment in all
Yeah.
places. And
Yes.
having that container for such a long time, it's inevitably changing you, your identity, your energy, the way that you ground this information, the way that you show up in your relationships. So yeah.
Yes, yes. And at the same time, moving the blocks out, because that's a really important part of the journey. If there's the blocks in the way for us to continue to move forward on our path, sometimes we can sort of spin or stay somewhere for a long time. If it's indecision or overwhelm or whatever it may be, in a job or an environment we're not meant to be in. And so through moving the blocks, then we can keep stepping more and more fully into, the healers that we are, but also in alignment with our souls. Because when you're really in alignment with your soul and your beautiful, awake, aware self, it doesn't feel natural to not be of service in some way, helping others do the same. Remember who they are.
Yeah.
So,
Um, did you notice like specific blocks that like all healers, light workers, or star seeds like come in with? Like there are certain things that we have to really heal before we can move into service to support other people.
mm, one of the biggest ones that I see is the not enoughness, the not good enough or the not enoughness. And so many of us have struggled with that one. And so that's a big one. And what I usually share with people around that one is to, you can hear the voice that might have some things to say about your own not enoughness, but then you can also connect with your powerful, multidimensional, amazing side right? That can do anything and has done many amazing things through time and space. And you can let both be there at the same time and keep moving forward. But you I find it's often helpful to have enough support to keep you, can I phrase this? To keep you not getting lost in the not good enough parts or self, ways of thinking about self, and to let you keep identifying with the vast being that you are so you can keep moving forward. So that's a big one, is the not enoughness.
Resonate with that, and it shows up in different ways. Like, it can show up in like not feeling safe to express yourself. Like that was a really big one. Not feeling safe to just be who you are. Um, now the like the other side is like when you are expressed in who you are, like for example, like we are able to talk about starseeds. Like I feel a resonance with that. Um, it like calls in the right people who are in alignment with that. So being able to be your full authentic self calls in all the right people who resonate with your message. Versus what I used to do is like used to like tone it down. I'm like, oh, being a starseed or talking about starseeds, it's a little out there. Like I wonder if, my friends and family from like high school and the corporate
Right.
world would think I'm crazy or something.
Right. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Mhm.
Now, this may feel like more quantum, more multidimensional, but is there like can you tie the bridge between us doing like the everyday little things and how that actually ripples into the quantum, or perhaps even in a session, why a single activation can actually like propel you forward versus like doing everything like linearly, slowly, one by one?
Love your questions. Really, I love your questions. So, so one of the things about an activation is it can instantly awaken a part of you that then is not only moving through your everyday life, but it does move out through the quantum field. And my guides showed me this in a channeling that I was doing an awakening activation, and they showed me that what we do, what we choose to do, and how we choose to share love, for example, or kindness, that it ripples out and it continues infinitely. It doesn't stop, it keeps going. So yeah, it's profound if you think about it. Everything that you do can just ripple out and keep having its effect through the multiverses. So there's that piece. Then with the linear piece, a lot of times we can get stuck in like the doing and some of the striving energy and the struggle. And if I just push or work hard enough, I can make it happen. But let's say you've had an activation like you're about to have, where you can awaken your inner healer, and then all of a sudden it's like you've got online an aspect of you that wasn't online prior. So you may be able to heal something that you didn't even think was possible before that, or you may be open to information that can help you heal or even pass it on to others and help them heal in a particular way. So there's so many ways that this can look and unfold, but one of the biggest is that the mind really opens to what's possible, the infinite possibilities, in a way that it might not have been able to without having had the activation or the awareness. And then through that, your whole life can change and you can just magnetize to you and attract to you the things you want to be experiencing and living, much more so than, for example, maybe before you did or your awareness wasn't as expanded.
Frequency perspective, do you think we need to know the trauma that we experience that we like, or can we heal that with with the activation or like energy healing and move beyond that without having to sit in the like go back and re-traumatize ourselves or re-bring that experience back?
Yeah, like get stuck in the loop, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a both and question because I do think it's important to do some of that harder work. Some of the shadow work to have clarity and awareness around, the origin point in this life, sometimes other lives that the trauma comes from. Because with that greater awareness, then it has less power over you. There's less of the unconscious, you know, behaviors that can act out or sabotage, which can just be another form of a block. So I think awareness around it and moving the energy, which often can move like emotion, is an important part of the journey. And I also think there comes a point where it's not necessary to do that anymore, or to the degree that maybe one once was doing. And because there's enough of a choice point, there's enough awareness when it may surface, or there may be like that voice that comes up, that we can just make a different choice. And I do think we heal so much in the activations. I really do. Things we're not even aware of, I think, are getting healed.
I agree. And oh my God, I've had clients who like they would tell me, they were in the space 30, 20, 30, 40 plus years ago, and healing was so slow back then. So we are actually very fortunate now with our energy being so much lighter and these higher frequencies and activations coming through, that we can bring someone's vibration from like down here all the way up here in like a single session. Like I've seen it, I felt it. I'm like, the guides are pulling you up, they're pulling you up. And similarly, I also recognize from personal experience that too much expansion in the consciousness and the energy field is needs grounding, right? Like we can't just float off into the etheric world. We have to embody it in our daily actions. And that was the missing piece for me this year. It was, we understand these concepts of being in the feminine. We understand these concepts of connecting to source and divine love, but how often are we practicing it? Being compassionate to ourselves, like moving slower, working on somatics and things like that. And then the shadow work piece of, there are certain emotions or certain memories that support our soul journey that are actually necessary for us to be aware of. Like for me, um, with power and control, like control dynamics in my family with my mom, though that was a very important piece to support me in stepping into sacred service, because I noticed where I was operating out of ego, and it was actually from that fear of losing control, right? And to be heart-centered was to heal my heart, but to heal my heart, I had to be aware of where that came from, like where I was emotionally blocked from like opening my heart up to other people, opening my heart up to receive love. So that was like an important piece beyond just the energy of the expansion, but the feeling and the emotional component of why that was important.
Yeah, because one of the things that can happen is we can disconnect, right? Even through a lot of these exponential, expanding, energetic ways of being, we can disconnect from the body or from our heart or from some of these painful things that just really want our awareness to be with them sometimes so they can move and heal. It's just energy, right? That just wants to move. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing that. That was so beautiful. I was like, ah.
Yeah, and I appreciate when you share. I do. I like hearing. Yeah, and I'm sure people listening do too.
Thank you. Well, I would love to move into the experiential piece of this podcast, and you had an activation for us. So, would you share a little bit about the activation, and then we can dive into it?
I would love to. So we're going to do an activation today that helps awaken the inner healer. And the way that I work is I work with my guides, and the galactic ones that I work with are Pleiadian, Arcturian, Andromedan, and Lyran. And they bring through beautiful sacred geometry technology, light language, and you get exactly what you need. You get exactly what you need in the moment. And so you can just relax and receive. Everyone will go into the Lemurian Healing Integration Chamber for 3 days afterwards. So it will be nice and easy and gentle. And it's all done in a way that's for the highest or greatest good. And you're already inside a sacred healing container that I created before the call. So you can just relax and receive. And so you're welcome to stay sitting or lay down. And I'm just going to go inward for a moment and then we'll begin. Yourselves to relax, dear ones. The time is now. The time is now to receive and let go. Esherin alaha amue a kaham ahaye au an na'a. Esherin ele ekiahu wa ama ana shahie. Hom aeha an naasha I akahe an iawom. Osherin ale ane uwukua ama anaha. Hia e Ashem awe ama ana. Take in a nice deep breath. And on the exhale, let go of whatever is for the highest good to release now. You are free, dear ones. You came here to do great things. Your soul knows this, and the remembrance is strong. Mia ana aha. Relax and receive. Ia oe ama ana e kaha ashere ai u on ne ia kiahan. Ale kiara hawe amaka. Eshe. We love you, dear ones. We are here with you, supporting you on your path. Listen to the inner callings and the inner stirrings that come in the days following this activation. Eshe hale akahana a amwe amea. Now for the joy transfusion in living your calling. Emme ala shehiahe anawe kiala. Emme shewo hanalehia. Emme kaha ene shehele you wa ama aniehe. Embody this down to your toes. Eshekia ania we kuhu. Emme eshere ala aniehie. We love you, dear ones. This is our gift to you. Take in a nice long deep breath and hold it. And on the exhale, let go of whatever's for the highest good for you to release now. Coming back into the here and now, the present moment. Allowing the eyes to flutter open as if you see everything, as if you're seeing it for the first time.
Thank you so much, Akasha. That was so beautiful. Um, I still feel the energy. It's like moving right here.
My pleasure. I'm so glad you feel it.
Yeah. Well, I would love to hear from the audience members if you felt something from Akasha's beautiful activation to put that in the comment section. And you have a gift for our audience. Would you share that with us?
Yes. So one of the things that I do is I create light code art and it's channeled with the galactic ones. And the piece that I'm sharing with you is a meditation with the galactic art video. And the meditation is the clear, align, and receive. or ground, clear, and receive. So you go through the steps of doing those so that you can actually have a daily practice of just being clear, being embodied, and being able to be open to receive and just enjoy this beautiful life. So that's the gift.
Yes. Oh, thank you. And for those that are like, I guess like interested in how light code art actually works, would you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. So light code art is it's channeled frequencies into the art, light codes into the art, so that when you see the art, it actually awakens more in you or it activates more in you, just like an awakening that, or just like an activation that you just received. So it does more through the visual and being with the art. So I turned the art into a video. So you can just watch the video and receive through looking at it.
Oh, beautiful. So I will have the link below this video in the description box. Everyone can access that there. And then Akasha, would you share some of your most recent programs or offerings that if people are interested in working with you, they can connect with you?
Yes, I would love to do that as well. Thank you. So the next program that's coming up is the Professional Intuitive Healer Certification Program, and that starts October 14th. And it's 9 months long. We meet every week. There are 6 teachers in it who are amazing, really, really good at what they do. And you learn how to do clairvoyant readings, how to give energy healings, how to do counseling, how to do some of that harder work to move the obstacles that we all need to do, and also how to do groups, how to facilitate groups and group healings. And so you go through a journey that's part heal yourself, part awakening journey, and part professional training. So you're getting all of these tools, and some people start doing the work professionally before they're even done with the program because they feel ready. And a lot of people come in and think that they're not intuitive enough to do it. So they think I'll just do it for the healing or I'll just do it for the awakening. And by the end, everyone can give readings, everyone can do the healing, and they're pleasantly surprised. So it's for everyone. We all have the ability to do this. I fully believe that. So that starts October 14th. And yeah, and then there's always the option of doing a one-to-one session with me. I do Akashic Records readings and multidimensional light transmissions to help support you on your journey.
Thank you. What a beautiful offering. So, thank you so much, Akasha, for being here on this podcast with me and sharing all your wisdom. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode.
Thank you.